What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got the weekly reset for the 26th of September in Destiny 2. And this week, amidst the DDoS issues or the server related problems we've been having, we do have a new patch for the game, so we'll cover the changes that Bungie outlined there, and then as always, we'll jump in and check out the main rewards and vendor inventories for the week. That includes the Eververse refresh. Hopefully we'll get some nice bright dust items for Season of the Witch, but we'll also cover vendors like Banshee and ADA-1, as well as key rewards and unlocks for the week. That includes a new Nightfall weapon this reset, and a few other things which we'll round up in the video. So, as always, if you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to get subscribed for more Destiny content, but now, let's get into it. And so, firstly today, we do have patch notes for the update that we've got. It actually has quite a few changes in it, something I wasn't expecting in this one. And so initially, for activities and the Iron Banner, Bungie say players now have a chance to earn Iron Banner engrams at the end of every match, and wins have a higher drop chance, so that's a positive. Then for trials, they've slightly tuned the spawning zones for burnout. In competitive, they say the Vermilion Defender emblem can now be reacquired from collections. And finally for Crucible, they fixed several out of bounds spots in the multiplex map, and an issue with the Disjunction map where players could spawn under the map, so a few positives right there. Next though, for raids and dungeons, they say the Crota's End loophole has been modified to have a more balanced distribution of armor pieces, and the change only affects armor. Weapon drops will remain the same as before, but this is the new loophole per encounter, so the Abyss has helmets, gauntlets, and chest armor drops, with Oversoul and the Throne Bridge dropping gauntlets, chest armor, and leg armor. For Ear Yurt, we'll be able to get chest, legs, and class items, and from Crota, we'll get leg armor, class items, and helmets. On top of that, they say Eidolon Ally can now be reacquired from collections, and they fixed the Spoils of Conquest Triumph to only require the player to find 2 hidden chests, and there was never a third chest to find, which is interesting, because players were hunting for that one, so it never existed, according to Bungie at least. And then, for Nightfalls, in Heist Battleground Mars, they say they've reduced combatant count and frequency during some encounters in higher difficulty levels. Plus for gameplay and investment, for armor, they fixed an issue where Astrocyte Verse was applying the volatile debuff to unintended objects. Another, where having too many perks active at the same time could kick players to orbit. And then there are a few weapon fixes here. They fixed an issue where shotguns had more damage fall off than intended when aiming down sights. They fixed an issue where special ammo could be generated by swapping weapons very quickly, and another where Necrochasm's Cursed Thrall explosions dealt less damage than intended to combatants. They also updated the Necrochasm Catalyst description to reflect the requirements needed, and the Catalyst unlocks after obtaining 35 essences of the Oversoul, and no combatant defeats are required. For abilities here though, for Weavewalk, they say, while the player is in Weavewalk, Arc Soul and No Time to Explain drones will deal reduced damage. Any purged threadlings deployed while the player is in Weavewalk will deal reduced damage as well. But also players can no longer dunk the spark while in Weavewalk, and while carrying the spark, the damage resistance provided by Weavewalk is reduced. So a few slight nerfs there for Weavewalk, but then for artifacts, they fixed an issue where the monochromatic Maestro mod wasn't working with Strand, so that's positive, and another where Elemental Munitions was granting more special and heavy ammo than intended in combination with the Whirling Maelstrom Strand Hunter aspect. They're kind of sad about that one, but finally for bounties and pursuits, they fixed an issue where the high energy Crucible bounty didn't progress on energy weapon kills, and another where the description of the Ritual Violence seasonal challenge was asking for combatant kills from Season of the Witch activities instead of ritual activities. And so there we go, a few more patch changes than expected right there. Give us your thoughts about them down below, and otherwise let's get on to the rest of the content for the week. And so starting with the Eververse store right here initially, we'll focus on bright dust items as always, and initially we've got the Feast of Feelings exotic emote right here, which is available for 3,250 bright dust, so a cool one to add to collections right there potentially. We also have the Tyrant's Vision for the Eyes of Tomorrow, pretty cool weapon ornament for 1,250 bright dust, if you want to deck out your raid rocket launcher with some Warmind themes. And then we've got the Darkblade effects, Transmat effect right here. As always, these all cost 450 bright dust. On top of that though, for the front page shaders, we've got Raven Silk right here available for 300 bright dust this week. And additionally, there is the Rustberry shader on the front page as well. Then moving over to the main bright dust section right here, we've got the Samba Dance legendary emote, which is available for 700 bright dust this week. Pretty funky stuff right there. Additionally, there is the VR Exploration legendary emote right here as well. If you want to add that to collections, it's 700 bright dust. And then there is the Skiff Scribbles shell, available for 2,850 bright dust this week, right there in the store. On top of that, we've got the Exohelion exotic ship, which is 2,000 bright dust right there, if you want to add that to collections from back in Season of the Seraph. And then there is the Out of Dodge exotic Sparrow for 2,500 bright dust, so a rather interesting looking thing right here. On top of that though, we do have the Alhidaid ornament for Crimson, if I'm saying that name correctly, which is 1,250 bright dust this week. Dreaming City themed ornament for Crimson right there, so it's a pretty cool one. Then there is the Sterling Arbor projection, a ghost projection there for 1,500 bright dust. Never quite understood why the ghost projections were relatively expensive. But then there is the Grayscale Undergrowth shader available right here for 300 bright dust. All of these will be 300 bright dust on the second page. Additionally, there is the Biolume shader, which is one that comes up quite regularly. And then we have the Boreal Char shader available this week as well, plus the Empirical Imperative from back in Season of the Seraph if you want to add that one to collections. But then there is the Hive Arrival Transmat effect here for 450 bright dust. On top of that though, the Fallen Arrival is available this week in the store as well, which is pretty cool. And very finally, there's also the Cabal Shield Breaker Transmat effect in there as well. So let us know down below if you plan to pick anything up from the Eververse store this week. Here though, to take a very quick look at Banshee for the week, on the front page for weapons here, we've got Whispering Slab with Hipfire Grip and Unrelenting. Then there is the Shattered Cypher Machine Gun with Field Prep and Snapshot Sights. The Nightwatch Scout Rifle with Subsistence and Multi-Kill Clip, which isn't too bad on that one. We've also got Escape Velocity with Overflow and Osmosis, and finally for the front page, Widow's Bite with Lead from Gold and Disruption Break. But moving over to the second page, bearing in mind that these roles and weapons may change throughout the course of the week, we've got the Lunar Ladder 4B Bow with Ensemble and Wellspring. There's also the Pizzicato 22 SMG with Perpetual Motion and Osmosis. Then we've got Funnel Web with Steady Hands Elemental Capacitor, the Amit, which has got Turnabout and Incandescent. So if you wanted an incandescent auto rifle and you don't have an alternative, this may be one to pick up. Then we've got the Typhon GL5 grenade launcher with Demolitionist Adrenaline Junkie, and finally the Taipan Linear Fusion Rifle with Ensemble and Frenzy right there. So give us your thoughts on any of Banshee's weapons this week at the reset, but once again keep in mind that the roles will change throughout the course of the week. They didn't mention anything about the DDoS attacks in the patch notes, but I haven't been kicked out of the game just yet, so I guess we'll see how we go. No promises on my end right here, but for ADA-1, or Shader-1, she's got the Terra Concord set of armor right here from back in the day, so if you're after stat rolls or to add these to collections for the first time, be sure to check in this week. But for the featured shaders, which cost 10,000 Glimmer each, initially there is Vitrified Duality available right there. Also, the new Pacific Rush Worn shader, which I believe is one of the Titan destination shaders from back in the day. And finally, the Dead Orbit Resurrection. If you're looking to add an older Dead Orbit faction shader right there to collections, it is a pretty cool one. Moving on to other rewards for the week though, Trials of Osiris will return on Friday. We haven't had word from Bungie yet as to whether they'll update the rewards or bring back Igneous Hammer following the server disruption that we had last weekend, so we'll simply have to wait and see. Although, there is a weekly seasonal challenge this time, where winning rounds in Trials of Osiris will award an additional Trials of Osiris weapon, so look out for that one. Additionally though, of course, Crota's End has reset, and as of last week we have the master version of the raid, so this is the first full week where that master version is available. Hopefully the servers will hold out and be decent, but of course we do have boosted Essence of Oversoul drops, so if you're still working on Necrochasm related quests, then that should be useful this week. Moving over to the weekly Nightfall though, and this time around we get Heist Battleground Mars. And according to the rotation, the featured weapon should be the Preastian Axe 4, which is the new solar bow for the Nightfall. So it's a precision frame bow, and we can see it comes with the Stunning Recovery, Vanguard's Vindication, and Wildcard origin traits. But on top of that, for featured bonuses in the first trait slot, it can roll Archer's Tempo, as well as Shoot to Loot, and Enlightened Action, as well as Perpetual Motion, Perfect Float, and Rangefinder. Then in the second trait slot, it can get Explosive Head, Incandescent, Precision Instrument, as well as Successful Warm-Up, Opening Shot, and Collective Action. So a couple of new options there in terms of perk combinations, and let us know down below any roles that you'll be going after on this particular weapon. But the very final mention for the video right here are the featured Lost Sectors for the week. So today we have Metamorphosis dropping exotic gauntlets, then September 27th we'll see K1 Revelation dropping exotic chest pieces, September 28th will be K1 Communion dropping exotic helmets, then we'll get K1 Crew Quarters dropping legs on September 29th, Concealed Void dropping gauntlets on September 30th, and for October 1st it'll be Bunker E15 dropping exotic chest pieces. And finally on October 2nd, Bay of Drowned Wishes dropping exotic helmets. So good luck if you're still hunting down any of the exotics for the season. And for today guys, that's what we have to round up in the rewards and vendor video for the week. So as always, I hope this one has been useful, and if it has, a rating below really does help us out on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, as always, I appreciate you tuning in today, and whatever you get up to, I hope you guys have an awesome week.